here's everything you need. First, you need the scionwood. The scionwood are dormant twigs of the variety you want to replicate. In this case, we're going to graft a variety called Mother. I cut these scions in January and have stored them at a cool temperature in plastic bags over the course of the winter. They'll last almost forever. Well, for the last 2 or 3 months, 4 months that way. This is our grafting knife. Very sharp and clean. This is the tape we use. It's PVC grafting tape. It's very strong. We use other kinds of tape for doing what we call bench grafting, but for top working we use this PVC tape. When you need a pair of hand cutters, hand clippers, these are hand pruners, these are Felcos. We use this stuff. It is a kind of a covering material called tree coat. And we use a little folding saw. And we label using vinyl siding that we score and snap, and we write on it with pencil because pencil will not fade. The first step in top working is to take your saw and to cut off a branch at a place where where it's nice and smooth all the way around. The next step is to take your grafting knife and make a plunge cut into the branch. I start with my tip of my knife and then I go all the way through the bark. This is May 11th in central Maine, which is the perfect time to do top working because the bark is slipping very nicely. I peel back the knife and the bark peels away from the inner wood. Next, I take my scionwood, which is 1-year-old growth, and I make a long, smooth cut with my grafting knife. You can see that we know that the wood is good because it's nice and bright green inside. You want your cut to be long and smooth. Then I make a little cut on the end to make the tip come to a point. I cut off my scion to be 2 buds long, and then I slide it into the incision that I've made right up to where the scion ends, where the cut ends that I made, the slice that I made. Now on a stub this size, I'm going to put 2 scions. If I was doing this whole trunk, which you could do, I'd probably put about 6 scions all the way around it. And on a very small one, you might just put 1 scion, but on this one I'm going to put 2. So again, I take my point of my knife and I plunge all the way through the bark, and I lift it up, and it lifts gently. It just lifts right off the inner wood. I take my scion, as I said before, and I create a long, smooth, flat cut. You don't want it to be jeweled. You just want it to be totally flat and smooth. Then I make my little point on the end. I cut it off so it's 2 buds long. 3 is okay, and in a pinch, 1 is okay. And then I slide the scion into the incision that I've made. Next, I take my PVC grafting tape and I'm going to wind it around as though it was an ace bandage. Being careful not to dislodge the scions. And I'm putting tension on it. I'm pulling it tight, but I don't want to pull it so tight that I break it. And it's okay to go around several times. This is not going to disintegrate. It's PVC. So in about a year, I'm going to come back and remove the tape. You can see how easy it breaks. So then the last loop, you just loop it inside itself like this and pull it snug. Then you take your tree coat, which is this black tar-like plastic goo, and put a little bit on the PVC tape and kind of glue down the end of the tape so it doesn't blow around and maybe come undone. And then you take the tree coat and you smear it all over the end of your cut on the branch. And you do it so that you can see I'm going over the intersection of the tape and the branch end so that it just seals everything up all the way around the sign. Then I take a little bit of the tree coat and put it on the end of each sign so that, because otherwise the signs may dry out. And then I take my piece of vinyl siding that I've turned into a tag, and I put it on. This I'm going to put a little bit tight because I don't want it to blow off. I'll probably loosen it up next year when the branch is bigger. And there you have, you've Topworked. You can put one of these on every branch on your apple tree, so you could have 10, 20 different varieties on a tree. It's like having your very own library of varieties. You can also change a tree to a different variety by putting, in this case, we'd put mother on several of the branches and then eventually cut off the others, or we would completely change it to that variety.